How would you describe NVR? What's most important about it for you?
NVR is a 12-week course involving facilitators and parents. It's the first kind of therapy or talking therapy I think that my family have been involved with that was parent focused. Actually focused on the carer. It actually took our view into consideration, and we'd never had that before. So that was a real difference. So NVR offered us something that we'd not faced before.
I think NVR I would describe as a parenting course like no other. For me it has been life-changing and so empowering to enable me to better understand my child and know how to respond to some quite violent and challenging behaviours that we've experienced.
What did you first make of being offered or hearing about this NVR group? How did you feel?
Scared. I was frightened, I think, because of the horrors really that we were going through at home with behaviours, that we would be judged, that I had to be honest and tell the story of really not a lot of people in my world knew, because it's stuff that you don't really talk about because you can be judged. So knowing that it was a commitment of 12 weeks and there were going to be other parents there were going to be professionals there, yeah, I was worried.
I think for me it was slightly unexpected to be offered it because I came along with a friend as her +1, so that was just the best opportunity ever, so I wasn't sure what to expect, which I think for me was better. I think there was this vision that it was just going to be another parenting course telling us what we're doing wrong and how we need to better manage our child, and it really wasn't. And I think that is the bit that makes me feel that parents need to give it a try because it isn't like anything you've experienced before.
What do you think connects people in the NVR group? Why do you think people stick with it?
I think it's connection. We share experiences, we are forced to be honest, we have to work through week by week and reveal a little bit more of ourselves and our lives. I think it does take time to build the trust, and I think that was one of the things, that I learned over the weeks, was that actually other people had the same sorts of experience, so I could trust them. And I think the facilitators are so professional and kind as well, and they know what they're doing and they steer you and guide you. So that for me was really helpful.
Because we're all telling the same story, you find a tribe, you're sat in a room, or at the moment it's obviously online, hearing yourself speaking through other people, and knowing that actually for all the years that you've spent feeling so isolated and alone, that you are no longer alone. It's sad that other people are on that journey as well, but actually that you've got no shame, you're not being blamed, you are really with your people, and can be open and honest. And I think that for me that's so important.
What makes NVR different to other parenting courses you might have been offered in the past?
I'd done a couple of parenting courses where it was basically how to fix your child. That's not what NVR is at all. It's about relationships, it's about building tools, it's about using those tools over weeks, and you can pick and choose the tools that are in NVR. Not everything will work for you, but a lot of it did work for me and my child, and we did see results, and we could build on it, and sometimes things would work and we would think, oh, and then the next week we would try it and we got results, and it was like, well, actually this is a long ongoing change. It's not going to be an instant hit, and it's not going to be something where you feel you've got to score brownie points or you're in competition with other parents. There's none of that. There's no judgment, and there's only support by the parents, which is wonderful.
The ability to be able to explore yourself. I think it isn't a parenting course in the sense of you're trying to fix your child. It's looking at your relationship with your child, and within that you're looking at your relationship with yourself. And I think that no other parenting course does that, and it gives you that opportunity to use all those skills. I really see NVR as a toolbox that you're able to dip into, and that's all you can use all those skills for every relationship. More importantly, your child, but actually, and I think that's what makes it so different from other courses.
What kinds of things were you worried about before starting the group?
As I say, judgment, I think, more than anything, and also being committed to the 12-week. I didn't know whether or not I would be able to do that. I didn't really understand at the beginning, though we're told it's a toolkit. I didn't know what that meant. And you do kind of have to commit to it. You have to try these things. You have to give them a go, even though they take you out of your comfort zone. Because you are making a change, and that isn't always comfortable. So I think that's a real kind of NVR message and strength.
Being blamed, and my child being taken away from me because they were going to hear the real story around what happens at home and the challenges that we face. And that's really frightening because you're there as a parent trying to do the best you can for them, and the thought that you're in a room with other professionals that you don't know, that they might actually take it further and think that you're not a good parent. So I think for me that was the biggest thing. I had enough blame and I didn't want any more, but it wasn't that at all. It really wasn't that. Everybody is there together, including the facilitators. They share your journey, and as I say, it's so empowering as a result.
What message would you most want to give parents thinking about NVR?
To know that it is different, to know that it is parent focused, that you do feel valued by the parents and professionals. They do want to know how you are, they are interested in you. There is an opportunity for you to make a difference and come in at a different angle to the one that you've come in. And I found for me that with my daughter, we'd had 10 years of trying to get a diagnosis for her. It had been a long journey. But because my responses to her were able to be changed, I could reposition how I felt and how I thought. The response from her was different, and that was just wonderful.
Definitely try it. My family's life has changed massively since having the opportunity to do NVR. I think that every course we go on, we learn something, but this is so much more powerful and has given me so much more belief in who I am. It's made me more confident in advocating for my son. The difference in him is just amazing, and I think that's because things now don't escalate. We are about building that connection, and one of the key terms from NVR is strike when the iron is cold, and that's cold for everybody, not just for yourself, and that is huge. Once you start to really see the results of that, I think that is absolutely huge. So I think go for it. It's a big 12-week commitment, but what you gain from it and the difference in your family's life will just be totally worth it.
What do you think you most took from your NVR group?
Friendship. Built some really core friendship. I was really lucky to have that in-person experience, and we would meet, and even now I stay in touch with some of the parents on that group, and it's friendship with people where you don't need to explain or think what their shocked reaction is going to be when you say you've had a tricky day, and that connection with other people. For me, I've also had the opportunity to be a parent graduate, so I've kept with the NVR and working with the campus professionals, and I think that's really powerful as well. So I've taken so much from it. It's changed my life so much, and my family's life so much, that there's just so much that I can say that has been useful for us.
Support and being valued, I think. I found my voice again. I think I had felt quite battered. You know, when I started NVR, I was on my knees. As a family, we were on our knees. My child was desperate. I didn't know what would help. I couldn't think what would help, and it did help. And it made a lot of sense. So I think, you know, with other parents as well, their support and understanding, and actually their honesty, sharing their experiences, is so rewarding.
What's been the legacy for you with the NVR Group?
Having a toolbox of skills to be able to draw on in those moments where you feel like you're lost and alone, and knowing that my child isn't to blame for all of the things that are happening, and that as parents we can do something about it, and it doesn't matter when you start that. You know, my son was 14 when I started NVR, and things have changed so much for him. So I think it's that it's never too late to start. You can always rebuild that connection with your child and change things if you want to.
I think taking it forward, being able to use it every day, it affects all relationships. I can now stop myself. If I pick up on something that I wasn't aware of before, I'm more mindful of other people. I don't think I realised the pitfalls beforehand, before doing NVR, that were also being repeated in other relationships. So I've been able to reposition myself in many different relationships for the better. And I feel better for it as well. I'm much less stressed than I was.